The phone call that changed my life came on a Tuesday. I remember the exact shade of gray the sky was. Heavy and unforgiving, just like the news my mom delivered through her sobs. My dad's small construction business, his life's work, was on the brink of collapse. A major client had pulled out, a domino effect was in motion, and we were facing financial ruin. The house, our childhood home, was on the line. Everything was on the line. I felt a cold dread creep into my bones, a helplessness that was suffocating. I was just a junior architect at a large firm, my salary barely enough to cover my own rent and student loans. What could I possibly do? The next day at work, I was a ghost. I moved through the motions, but my mind was 1,000 miles away, replaying my mother's panicked words. My boss, Mr. Evans, called me into his office. He was a charismatic man, the kind of person who could command a room with a smile. He'd always been complimentary of my work, but I always kept a professional distance. He leaned back in his leather chair, his eyes scanning my face. He asked if everything was all right. He'd noticed I seemed distracted. I don't know why, maybe it was the fake sympathy in his voice, but I broke. The story of my family's crisis spilled out of me before I could stop it. He listened patiently, his expression unreadable. When I finished, he didn't offer empty platitudes. Instead, he made a proposal. He spoke of a private investment, a personal loan that could solve all my family's problems. No banks, no paperwork, just a simple transfer of funds. Enough to save my dad's business and our home. I was stunned, breathless with a fragile, desperate hope. I asked him what he wanted in return. His smile was slow, predatory. He said he was a lonely man, and he simply wanted company for one evening. A dinner, a conversation, an overnight stay at his exclusive penthouse suite downtown. Just one night. A wave of nausea washed over me. I understood the implication, the unspoken price. My mind screamed no. Every fiber of my being recoiled. But then I saw my father's face, etched with a lifetime of hard work and now with crushing despair. I saw my mother's tear-streaked cheeks. I felt the weight of their world on my shoulders. I was their only hope. He saw the conflict in my eyes and pressed his advantage, describing the life of ease my family could have, free from debt and worry. He made it sound so simple, a small sacrifice for a lifetime of security. With a heavy heart and a voice that was barely a whisper, I agreed. I told myself it was a transaction. A business deal. I would endure one night to save my family. The days leading up to it were a blur of anxiety. I didn't tell anyone, carrying the secret like a stone in my gut. The night arrived, and I met him at the lavish hotel. The dinner was a performance. I smiled, I nodded, I played the part of the willing companion, while inside I was screaming. He talked about his success, his power, his influence. He made it clear that he was a man who got what he wanted. Later, in the suite, the pretense fell away. He didn't physically harm me in the way you might first imagine. It was worse, more insidious. He didn't lay a hand on me. Instead, he made me sit and watch. He opened his laptop and, with that same chilling smile, he logged into my dad's business accounts. He showed me the client who had pulled out. It was a shell company, a company he owned. He had orchestrated my family's crisis from the very beginning. He had manufactured my desperation. He engineered my father's downfall just to get me into that room. The loan he had promised was a lie. He had no intention of saving my family. His plan was to dismantle my father's business piece by piece and absorb its assets into his own empire, all while having me, the daughter, indebted and under his control. He showed me the emails, the fabricated documents, the entire web of deceit he had spun. He took a sick pleasure in my horror, in watching my hope crumble into dust. He hadn't just taken advantage of me. He had taken a wrecking ball to my entire world, all for his own twisted amusement and gain. He had stolen my family's future, and he made me watch. I left that hotel suite before the sun came up, a different person than the one who had walked in. The despair was gone, replaced by a cold, hard fury. He thought he had broken me. He was wrong. He had ignited a fire. The first thing I did was go to my parents. I confessed everything. The shame was immense, but their reaction surprised me. There was no blame, only love and a shared steely resolve. My father, a man of quiet strength, looked me in the eye and said, "He picked a fight with the wrong family. We decided to fight back." I spent nights poring over every document, every email he had shown me, recreating the digital trail. I contacted a lawyer who specialized in corporate fraud, a woman for her tenacity. I reached out to a journalist I knew from a college internship, someone who wasn't afraid to take on a powerful man. It was terrifying. Evans had money, power, and a team of ruthless lawyers. He tried to intimidate me, threatening my career and my family. He tried to paint me as a disgruntled, unstable employee. But I wasn't alone. As our investigation deepened, we found others. Other small business owners he had crushed. Other women he had manipulated. My story gave them the courage to come forward. A chorus of voices rose up to challenge his reign of terror. It became a huge legal battle, a media storm. It was the hardest, most draining period of my life, but for the first time I felt powerful. I was no longer a victim. I was a fighter, a survivor. In the end, justice prevailed. Mr. Evans was exposed. His empire, built on the ruins of other people's lives, came crashing down. He lost everything. My family didn't recover everything we had lost, but we recovered our dignity. My dad, with help from the community he'd served for 30 years, started to rebuild. We were stronger, more united than ever. This experience taught me that predators thrive in silence and that our voices are our most powerful weapons. If you are ever in a situation where you feel coerced, powerless, or manipulated, please know that you are not alone. There is help, and there is hope. Speaking up is the first and most powerful step. It can be terrifying, but your story matters, and it has the power to create change, not just for you, but for others. Thank you for listening to my story. Please subscribe for more stories of survival and empowerment.